Hello, hello.
Hello.
Good morning, everybody.
Hi,
How's
Lex.
everybody doing today?
Hi. Great.
All right,
How are you?
terrific. Very well. I'm excited to have you all here this morning. We're going to give it a couple minutes. People are still joining us, and then we will jump in and get started. Really great
Lex,
turnout this morning. Very excited to see all the interests. Thank you all for taking time out of your Super Bowl Sundays to join us for this dance sport call. We're excited to share a little bit more about dance sport and how it will look like here at Special Olympics Colorado. So why don't we get started? I will start off with a brief round of introductions, just so from the folks that you will be hearing from this morning, as we share a little bit more about what the future's in store as we pilot dance sport here at SoCo. So I'll start off. I am Adrian Mora. I am the Vice President of Regional Services and Family Engagement at Special Olympics Colorado. In my role, I lead all of our community level programming. So that's for our non-school partnerships across the state of Colorado. And we work with providing resources and tools with all of our partners to provide grassroots level training opportunities for Special Olympics athletes. Those are individuals with intellectual disabilities who participate with us throughout the state, starting at the ages of 2 and up. I also lead our team of regional managers, and we provide the direct support and connection for any individual who's looking to get involved with Special Olympics, be that a family member, an athlete, a unified partner, or a coach, to connect them with an opportunity locally. So I make up a two-part partnership as we look to launch this from a SoCo lens. I am leading our efforts on kind of the outreach and organization of all of our training opportunities and the facilitation of our teams. And then I am met with my colleague Aspen Field, who's leading us on the competition and sports side of things. So I'm going to hand it off to Aspen.
Good morning. I know a lot of you, but I'm Aspen. I have been a coach actually with Special Olympics Colorado for about 17 years, and I'm now staff working as a manager running our sports and competitions group with a couple of coworkers. So my main role in this is going to be figuring out what competitions look like on the Colorado side, what our requirements are going to be, what it's going to look like to actually facilitate regional state competitions and all of that. So the rules and the logistics part. So
And then making up the third part of our team is Louis Van Amstel. Let him introduce himself. He is our guru and our guide who is walking us through and leading us in
no
the charge of
pressure.
everything dance sport. So I'm gonna hand it off to Louis.
Hi, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon, and maybe even good evening somewhere. No, all US. So I'm Louis Van Amstel. I am since 2016 the Global Dance Ambassador for Special Olympics International, which then means SONA Special Olympics North America. And I am just so thrilled at the speed that Colorado has opened their arms to Special Olympics dance sports. I am truly grateful with the entire team, all of you guys, including the CEO, the chair of the board, you guys, Adrian, Aspen. It's just so wonderful to see how you guys have embraced dance sports. So this is the first coaches training that we do. Personally, I have been to 5 World Games now. The last one had dance sport as an official sport, and we became the number one sport in numbers, in media coverage, and we brought in 2 continents to the World Winter Games that would never normally would have joined. So I'm truly excited about yet another state included. And I know that some of you are from the state of Florida because you have showed interest to make DanceSport in Florida. So I'm just so thrilled. In all these years of seeing a lot, learning a lot about Special Olympics, the reason why I believe that we made DanceSport so quickly is because we had a very small team and we kept it simple. And that's the big word that I want to share many times today. To start a program, start simple, start small, and start efficiently. And then as you grow, I mean, it's now 6 years when Tim Schreiber announced DanceSport. We laugh at what we did 6 years ago. We grew, we learned from states like yourself, and we just learned. We're all human, but by starting simple, it's absolutely the best way to start a program. It's then also a joy because it's not overcomplicated. The athletes feel successful. The caregivers, the parents love it because even they can understand it. So before I did ask Pierre Geider to join for the first 10 minutes just to introduce himself, but he's teaching in Austria at his dance studio, so he couldn't join. But Pierre Geider is the one that got me involved. He is the liaison between SOI, Special Olympics International, and the World Dance Sport Federation. We had to affiliate with a World Dance Organization. That was one of the requirements from SOI. And Pierre and I, that was a team of two to make this all happen. And we love the fact that things move pretty swiftly. So Pierre is really the person I work with directly. He works directly with SOI. And Espen, I will introduce Pierre to you because when it comes to the first showcase at the Broadmoor on Saturday, May 9th, he will be there and he will be taking care of the leadership of the competition so that you and him can work together. So in the future, he doesn't have to fly out to the United States. So you will learn directly from him. And I assure you, the man knows what he's talking about. He did LA. He did the Winter Games in Austria. He did Abu Dhabi. He did Italy. He is hired across the world to help set it all up. So I'm
Well,
the
if I need to go
ambassador.
to him, I'm happy
He is
to.
you're calling me a guru. He is the guru. I'm just about the dance, the choreography. I have judged all 5 of them, and I'm more about the coaches and helping to simplify, to make it accessible so everyone can really enjoy the ride rather than making it too complicated. New coaches that have never ever danced before should be able to become a dance coach because the requirements are based on logic, not on 20 years of dance training. So I would also like to share with you that in the chat box, I put in a link, the SODS starter kit. I printed it out, the 5 pages, and you can click on it and we'll go through it together and you'll have that as a written document that you can use to start a program, to continue a program, or to add more to your program. So I would just like to get started. So no, ADD kicked in. Slow down, Louis. Did you all have a chance to open the document? Can you see the starter kit? Yes? Okay. So this starter kit is an accumulation of the Special Olympics International requirement, all the boxes that we had to check before they would approve DanceSport. And one of the things they find really important, and I love, love, love that mission, even with my own company, it's the same mission, all inclusive. Everyone that has a mental disability, one way or another, one kind of another, they should be able to join. Yes, the World Games and eventually the World Championships They're championships. It's about winning a gold medal, a silver medal, a bronze medal, making it to the final. But there should also be a portion of the program, even if people don't compete, they should still feel welcome. So when you read the first paragraph, I'm just going to read it out loud, because when people don't have the manual or the starter kit, you can still read it. To create the most successful Special Olympics dance sport program in your area, that would include a variety of dance styles, categories, abilities, and ages. Minimum 8 years old. So anyone that wants to join in, they'll have to be 8 years old. I think across Special Olympics North America, every state, I think, is the same. From 8, so there's no age limit on the plus side, but minimum age of 8 years old. This opens the doors to many athletes who like different dance styles. Yes, so DanceSport includes all forms of dance. More about that later. Some athletes like to dance alone. Some would love to dance with a friend, duo, or couple, while other athletes prefer to dance in a team. Sometimes dancing in a team, it just feels safer. So, and you as coach, you will see after a few weeks, months, who is gravitating towards each other, who like each other. It really is just starting a program once a week, and you just go along, and you'll see where the ship ends or where it starts. So it really is an organic thing. There is no formula. There's no rule. Every state is different. You all have different 501c3s that are all slightly different. So you start a program, what you think is best. And in this case, since we have multiple states on, as a coach, as an organizer, or as a studio owner or manager, work with your state to see what are maybe requirements that Colorado doesn't have, but Florida might have, or Utah, or Georgia, who are now all 4 approved states. So,
And Louis, if I may jump in here just a
please,
moment,
please do.
just so everybody has an idea, because Louis just mentioned that of like expectations and requirements and all that, we will be covering that here on this call. We will be covering it at the end. So we'll cover just right at the top what is dance sport, how you can play a role in it, what kind of the dance sport like sport requirements will look like, and then we'll talk more about the like actual Special Olympics side of it, paperwork requirements, our timelines, etc. The other thing that I will mention is because we have a good mix of representation on the call. We have our friends from our dance studio sphere, and then we also have some of our experienced veteran coaches and local program coordinators. So we have a good mix of representation in here. I know some of you have joined us for our initial dance sport rollout call last week. We have been meeting with our Special Olympics teams throughout the Front Range to capture some interest of who is interested in supporting dance sport and providing referrals for athletes to join some of our dance studio friends. So we have some of those coaches on the call with us today who are also listening in. So what we will do following this call is start connecting the dots so that we can get programs started and get some athletes into the studios and dancing, and we will share some more on that end. So if you had some questions about how can I make this happen with my dance studio, I don't have athletes currently participating, we will cover that towards the end as well. So just wanted to level set some expectations here, and then I'll hand it back off to Louis.
Thank you. And Adrian or Aspen, please jump in if you feel you need to add something or I forgot something. Please
Will
do.
do.
So now I want to go into the breakdown of dance styles and the categories, the location, choreography. And that's really what's very helpful for really anyone, but also for coaches that would like to start a program. So Special Olympics dance sport, all forms of dance. However, we do have 4 categories. So we have ballroom dancing, which is partnering. So that refers to as couples. And we have 10 dances. So in ballroom dancing, you have 2 categories: the standard dances, which are the waltz, the tango, the foxtrot, the Viennese waltz, and the quick step. Those 5 dances. And then in the Latin portion, you have the cha-cha, the samba, the rumba, the paso doble, and the jive. Yes, it's written down, but I just wanted to say, so within ballroom, you refer to ballroom dancing as that would be a couple, and that's only a couple. So that's ballroom category 1. Then street dancing is the next category. Any form of hip hop, break dancing, locking, you name it, that falls under the street dancing category. Number 3, the performing arts category: ballet, jazz, contemporary, modern. That's all under the performing arts dance. And then category 4, I kind of have a smirk on my face. Category 4, if it doesn't fit into the first 3 categories, it fits into the specialty category. So any national dance: Bollywood, Chinese, African, Guam, tap dancing, folklore, bachata, Lindy hop, any one form of dance that does not fit in the first 3, go in there. And that was really because SOI made a requirement, it should be for everyone. Well, then we cannot exclude one single dance form. So that's why it's called specialty. It's a little bit being diplomatic, but also a little bit, that's the category. If you come up, Irish dance, if you love Irish dance in the state of Colorado and you want to do that, well, it goes into specialty. Yes, I hope, can I just get thumbs up that this is all clear? If you have any questions, please, just want to make sure no chat box questions either. Great, thank you. Because even though we have 2 hours for this, we're going to try and do this all within an hour, or at least my portion, so you can enjoy the rest of your Sunday. So then, after selecting the dance styles, maybe your group loves ballet. We have quite a few ballroom dance studios on board, so probably comes to no surprise that you'll start with ballroom. But to me, and this is purely an encouragement and a suggestion, the ultimate goal is that, wouldn't that be a dream if every single program in every single county of the state has all forms of dance in their own program? That would be the ultimate goal. I know that's going to be a task, but, and again, it's a suggestion, but it would be lovely if we can really get all forms of dance within every single group. Then the categories. We have solo, meaning an athlete dances by him or herself completely without any support, any help, solo. Then we have the duo / couple. That's 2 people in a group, and duo pretty much refers to the other categories, dance styles other than ballroom dancing. So if you were wondering, well, what's the difference between duo and couple? Well, couple refers to ballroom, because we always do that with a partner, and duo could be side-by-side jazz, could be hip-hop, could be ballet, so that's side-by-side. And I might put the cart before the horse because it's later, but another way of seeing it, duo is 70% side-by-side not touching, and 30%-ish you are touching, whether it's a hand or you hold each other in the waist because there is a jumping section, or in ballroom, you are 70%, minimum 70% connected, but you can do side-by-side for 30%. So I hope this is clear, because this could be confusing if this is for the first time. So can I get a thumbs up, or a question? No? We're good? Okay. Then we are going to teams. Teams is from 4 people up to 12 people. So between 4 and 12, it's called a team. Yeah, minimum 4, maximum 12. Is that
So no
clear?
trio. So it's just, it goes from duo to group. There's no trios.
It's funny, in all the years that I've been part of Special Olympics, I had that realization myself only a few weeks ago. I thought, oh, I guess we don't do trio because it's solo, duo, group. So, and here, this is a little bit of a side note. Every 2 years, we as a sport can submit changes to Special Olympics International. And that can come from coaches that say, I request this change in the manual. And then it goes to SOI. Well, it actually goes through Pierre Geider, and then he submits the changes that come from the sport, from all of the coaches or studio owners, and then we make changes. And I would suggest, well, why are we not going to implement a trio? Right now, it's solo, duo, or couple, and team. So if you say, well, I insist on a trio, well, within the next 2 years, make that suggestion, and then it can be submitted. This year, there were quite a few little details changed in the rule book that will come out either later this year or next year. So just so you know, the rule book is like a child. It grows, it changes. So, and so also nothing is personal when you thought, hey, I thought this was the rule. Well, things evolve, things change because we all learn.
Mute.
So, but right now, yeah, there's no trio. It's either solo, duo, or couple, or team. So one of the things that oftentimes gets confusing is the moment I share, we are a unified sport. Huh? What does that mean? Well, a unified sport means that you, in duo and couple and team, you can have a unified partner. And that is a person that does not have mental disabilities. So that could be a family friend, could be a family member, it can be a friend, it can be a caretaker. And this is where when I'm at the World Games and I hear that a mother dances with her son that has autism, I cannot keep it together. When I hear 3 brothers are in a team with their Down syndrome younger brother, I mean, goosebumps. It is so special to see that there are teams or duos or couples that have a unified partner or team members. So as long as you can have up to 50% unified partners. So in a group of 10, 5 may be a unified partner. If you have a team that's all athletes, meaning someone with a mental disability, of course, that will be a separate category. So we have those 2. So you can have a duo or couple that both are athletes. They will compete in their own category. And then you have the unified duo or couple or team that also are in their separate category. Is it clear about unified partners? So I'm going into the chat box. Angel asks, a teacher cannot be a unified partner. Well, that is a difficult question, because if you are the teacher, and let's say Switzerland 2029, the Special Olympics World Winter Games, where DanceSport will be part of, if you are the teacher, then especially in a team, if you're on the floor, it's very difficult to be a coach as well. So even though I guess you could do it, but I would say choose one or the other.
Louis, can I jump in on this?
Please, Aspen.
So we do have a requirement with Special Olympics sports and programming that there is a coach or a teacher or someone who has a Class A background check that is not participating. So if you have a coach who is also dancing, then you would need one other person who is not actively dancing or participating. And this is so that if anything happens, the way that protests work, only a head coach can do a protest. So you do need someone who is not a part of the activity.
Thank you, Aspen. And to what Aspen just said about protesting, this happened because now dance is an official sport. So now we have all these requirements. So when a coach of one country sees a performance of another country and sees that the requirements are not abided by, the head coach can make a protest, and then the team behind the scenes will have to look at that protest, and there have been disqualifications. So if you're now dancing and you do it perfectly according to the rules, but the other one does not, well, now you are out of luck because you cannot make that protest. So thank you again, Aspen, for that note. So again, you can have all athletes in all categories, or you can have the unified partners in duo, in couple, or in teams. And in teams, at least 50% has to be athletes. And that is just to avoid that there is one athlete and 9 unified partners. That would be cheating. That would be, well, why is that athlete not doing a solo? That's, and in Abu Dhabi, we had a team, 12 athletes from Guam, all 12 autism. The synchronicity, the musicality, we were stunned how synchronized they were and how they heard the music. Not one single unified partner. I gave them 4 extra points. We don't have that point system anymore because now we're an official sport, but I was impressed. So I get it. If you have a team that are not as high functioning and you want to still be competitive, I get it. You have a few unified partners to up the level, but be mindful on, have as many team members that are athletes because, they all want to have a chance. But the choice is yours as coach. And as long as you abide by the rules within the state, then you're good to go. And all I always do is encourage and suggest. I will never say you have to do this. That would come from Adrian or Aspen or Special Olympics Colorado. I will only encourage. So do we have any questions so far?
There's another question in the chat from Rachel about athletes. Do they only experience
mental disability? Oh, yeah. I'm glad you asked, Rachel. So Special Olympics is any athlete with a mental disability. Anytime an athlete only has a physical disability, that would be the Paralympics. So what's going on right now in Italy is the Olympic Games. Then after that will be the Paralympics, which are people with a physical disability. Their mind is 100%. Now, the Special Olympics is an athlete with a mental disability. However, and Adrian or Aspen, correct me if I'm wrong, if an athlete with a mental disability happens to have cerebral palsy or happens to be in a wheelchair, they would still be part of Special Olympics. But if this person is in a wheelchair with no mental disability, that would be the Paralympics. Now, And again, Adrian or Aspen,
Yeah,
you
happy to
might
jump
be
in
in
here,
an
Louis.
adaptive sport where you do allow people without mental disability to participate. That would be a question for you.
Correct. So we have, as Louis mentioned, individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. That is what essentially qualifies them to be an athlete for Special Olympics programming. There's often secondary other parts that come with those disabilities or ability groups. So you may have an athlete who, as part of their cognitive development, hasn't fully developed skills for coordination or other areas, or they may have very noticeable physical disabilities that come with that intellectual and developmental disability. The only time that they are not qualified as a Special Olympics athlete is if they do not have that cognitive disability piece as well. So if they just have a physical disability, then like Louis mentioned, they would be in other adaptive sports programming. That to say there's a lot of variety in the athletes you'll see. I know some of the people on this call are program staff or rec therapists, and we have a lot of people with a lot of information and experience in those areas. So if you are with a studio or if this is a newer population of people that you're working with, if you come across athletes that, excuse me, have a physical disability or a cognitive disability that you just don't have experience with or would like some support in, that's where Special Olympics can really help out because we can provide you with some resources and tools, some hands-on help as far as how to best support that athlete and really focus on bringing out their abilities and what their strengths are, to kind of work through those challenges.
Yeah, and I'll
Thank you.
expand on that just a touch here. So those who ha are individuals who solely have physical disabilities but is impaired with an intellectual developmental disability, they can still participate with Special Olympics. They would just be classified as a unified partner, so they can still participate on those teams. So just wanted to offer that guidance as well. And then to Aspen's point, for those dance studio leaders who are in the room, our goal is to pair you up with a Special Olympics team and a veteran coach who will help support some of that administrative responsibility and will be more versed in kind of all things Special Olympics and provide that kind of guidance, direction, support. And then in addition to that, each of you will also have one of our staff members assigned to you, a Special Olympics Colorado regional manager, who is going to be your direct point of contact and provide you with all the day-to-day support. So any question that you have as you get started and move through the dance sport process, that regional manager will be that contact who will help support you all throughout the process and answer any intricacies, any kind of unique questions that you run into as we get started. We don't expect you to come out of this call today having a full, well-rounded appreciation and understanding of everything that we do at Special Olympics Colorado. So don't feel overwhelmed by by that. We are here to help, and we will support you all throughout the way.
Two things I want to share about that. I am just, in 10 years, this is the first time I feel so supported on behalf of all the athletes. And the fact that you guys have 6 categories like the Grand Junction, the mountains, the North, the Mid, Denver, and then South Colorado Springs. And then each area gets their own manager to work with. That is just so helpful. And the fact that you guys have 28,000 athletes and you're going to reach out to 28,000 athletes to help all these studios and locations or rec centers that want to start programs, but they don't have the athletes. And they would normally have to start grassroots and try and connect with local organizations or try to find parents with athletes. And this is so helpful from you guys from Special Olympics Colorado to speed up that process. So when we have the showcase on May 9th, that is just such an integral support system to make that such a success. So I really am grateful and can't say it enough. Rachel, your second portion of the question, I'm going to read it out loud so everyone can hear it. If there's a couple dancing Lindy Hop in the specialty category and there are no other Lindy Hop couples, would they be the only couple on the floor? That kind of, thank you for bringing that up, because every solo or every duo or every couple or every team performs alone, because Special Olympics dance sport is done in theater setting, which means the World Games are at a theater. The local competitions, if it can be done in a theater, fantastic, great. If not, no worries. If you are in a gym and you just have to make sure that there is one side audience. So the back will be the back wall, and then left and right are the wings, and then the front is the audience. So that is one important thing that I just learned. I'm going to add that to the starter kit already, because that's an important piece of information. It's in theater setting, audience is only on one side. And for one, ballet, jazz, tap, when you go to any concert, you go to any Broadway show, any ballet performance, it's always theater setting. The only one that's not theater setting is ballroom dancing. So this is a big message to all my ballroom dancers on here. This will be done with an audience on one side, like you do your showcases at studios. They're on one side audience, sometimes three, but mostly one side. Yes, so let that be clear. Special Olympics dance sport is done in theater setting, and everyone is by themselves, whether it's solo, duo, couple, or team. So it could be that a Lindy Hop couple in specialty is competing against Chinese national dance, or Bollywood, or folklore, flamenco, bachata. So that's specialty. So that will be compared against each other. So I hope that answers your question, Rachel. Yep, great. Thank you. So even though when I'm talking about location, I want to skip that, because this is when you have to go grassroots. In this case, Colorado is going to reach out to 28,000 athletes that are registered, that are offered dance sport to be an athlete in your studios, your locations, to join you. So I want to go to choreography and music. And music, it's pretty simple. So I don't know if you're reading with me. I'm going to read this out loud, even though I wrote it, because I want you to hear this. This is important. It is important to remind yourself often to choreograph appropriately and keep in mind the ability of your athletes. So many dancers make the mistake, they make it too hard because they're thinking of what they want rather than what the athlete needs. Yes, simple is key. You want to make sure that the athlete can enjoy the routine as well as execute it safely, precisely, and with personality. 5 World Games, and every time when the choreography was simple and they were able to show their personalities, I personally, and with me, the audience and fellow judges, we were either laughing our asses off or crying our hearts out, because it just touches you. And that cannot happen if all they do is trying to catch up to the next move. Yeah. When choreography is too difficult, the athlete or athletes can easily get frustrated and also they might lose interest because that's another reason, and then they just don't want to come back. If a coach decides to have athletes compete in more than one category, you can easily convert a solo or duo routine from a team routine or vice versa. So you might have, this is just an example, you might have a team of 10, and 2 of those are so high functioning they could win a gold medal in solo, or they simply just want to. They could do it 2 solos or 1 duo. You can still take that choreography from the team and use those requirements and turn it into a duo or a solo or vice versa. So that way, the solos or the duo doesn't have to necessarily learn major different routines. However, this is a suggestion because your solo might say and might be very clear on what he or she wants. Sometimes with autism, these kids, these athletes, they know what they want and you cannot change their minds. I just did a training in Atlanta, and Ryan, autism, oh, he insisted on Bruno Mars. We tried to convince him to do Michael Jackson. We were unsuccessful. And why fight the guy if he wants Bruno Mars? So here is where you are going intuitive. You go with the flow a little bit, and sometimes you have to put your foot down, but mostly it's let them dance to the song they want if they insist so bad. I'd rather have them have a song they love than it's your favorite song, but they do it to please you. So I just see a question from Carla, and I think this is for you, Adrian or Aspen. Do the athletes need to be tested to qualify as having a mental disability? Is there a test?
There's not. We really go on honor system with our paperwork. So what we have is called the athlete application, and they need to complete that with, if they're their own guardian, they can complete that and sign it. Otherwise, they need to have a legal guardian sign off on that. And it does ask if they have an intellectual or cognitive disability, but we do not any longer require a doctor's signature or examination. So we are really doing a hope for honesty there. And, for the most part, expecting that people who don't have a disability aren't coming in and trying to say they do to win a medal at something. But no, we do not have a required test or anything. We just ask athletes and really go on the honor system.
Yeah, and that athlete application is a requirement for any athlete who wants to participate at Special Olympics Colorado and in dance sport. So that is part of the reason why we are working with our existing community teams and local programs to pair them up with your dance studios, because the majority of our athletes that we will be referring over will have already completed that process and will be ready to go. Our athlete application is a kind of 3-part process. It captures some health history about the individual, emergency contact information, and then has them complete our waivers, release forms, and then code of conduct. And then that clears them for participation in all 22 of Special Olympics Colorado sports for a year. Um, so uh, we will take on that responsibility, Special Olympics Colorado, and in collaboration with our teams and our local programs to make sure our athletes are already registered when they join the dance studio. That said, if you are already offering inclusive dance programming out of your studio and are unsure if any of your participants are registered Special Olympics athletes and have completed that athlete application, we're going to create an individualized like Excel spreadsheet that will serve as a roster of sorts for your program, where you can just share their name and date of birth, and then we will be able to cross-reference that with our records to make sure that they are registered with us. And if not, we at Special Olympics Colorado will follow up with that individual and share the next steps and walk them through the process so they get signed up, so that responsibility won't fall on you as a dance studio and instructor.
I also want to add that it hasn't happened once at any games that there was someone that had no mental disability. We had very high functioning athletes, but it really, and we had quite a few high functioning athletes with autism. So at first glance, you just thought, no disability. You had a 2-minute conversation and you see, oh, yeah, no, that's it. But also for any World Games or eventually for any official competition that is sanctioned by Special Olympics, in this case, Colorado, but in the future, Florida or Georgia and in Utah, you have to submit, as coach, you have to submit your music months in advance and also your choreography. And then there is a team that is assigned to look at those videos if it's appropriate, if the costume is appropriate, the music is appropriate. We don't want any cussing. We don't want any explicit. We want to really make sure that that's all done before the games or any championship or even a showcase. So also there, we can verify, are they cheating the system? Because the athlete should be a unified partner, not an athlete. So, but it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened once. So people are pretty honest in that sense. And we have ways to, before the comp starts, to know if this person were to cheat. If that answers your question, Carla, I want to add one more thing about why we are in theater. Especially for the ballroom dancers that are joining Special Olympics DanceSport, it's quite different because in our competitions, we have audience on 4 sides. And in theater setting, it's only on 1 side. When you look at mostly the athletes with autism, oftentimes when it's too busy or there's too much light, it just gets them all frazzled. In theater setting, in the wings, it's dark. It's really quiet. And it's really good for the athletes to be in a separated environment away from the audience. The audience, yes, once on stage, they interact with the audience while they're performing. But if before the competition, they had all this interaction, or they see their parents, they see their caregivers, or they see all this flash, it might get them so distracted that they are not able to perform, and we don't want that. So there are some medical reasons and really helpful reasons for the athletes to keep them in a very safe and quiet environment. So that's why theater setting, it's not just fun. There are some other reasons why we chose theater setting. Then back to choreography. So when choosing music for your athletes, make sure that the songs are uplifting, lyrics clean and positive. That's a note for me personally, because I don't always check the lyrics. And liked by the athletes. I mentioned that before. If the athletes love the song, oh my gosh, you have their attention 100% more than if they don't like the song. The more the athletes like the song, the better they will perform. And as coaches, keep in mind, the bait, the music, must appeal to the fish, the athlete, not the fisherman, the coach. This is a smart aleck comment from Pierre that added this in, and I absolutely love it. Never heard it. So the bait must appeal to the fish, not the fisherman. So if the fisherman loves it, great, but the fish ain't gonna bite. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. Then below that is the breakdown of the song length. This is really important for any coach and teacher. You can't go below, you can't go over. So for solo routines, the music must be between 1 minute and 10 seconds and 1 minute and 30 seconds. For couples and duo, it's the same. 1 minute and 10 minimum, 1 minute and 30 seconds maximum in length. For teams and routines, because we have more people on the stage, it's a little longer. So minimum 1 minute and 30 seconds, maximum 1 minute and 50 seconds in length. No exceptions. You pretty much have 20 seconds of leeway, but you have to stay within that 20-second margin. Otherwise, and this is not to be blunt, it is to be preventative. When you submit your music or your choreography and it is 1 minute and 5, you will be told you have to add 5 seconds. If you go over 130, you're asked, you have to cut out until you get to 130. So I would say keep it at around 120, then you're safe. But you will be told, because we can make exceptions, because we're trying to prevent from any protest to happen during the World Games. It's really frustrating for everyone involved. For the coach that didn't abide by the rules, the athlete that now has to change between divisioning and the main competition, and for the organizers, because they now have to go and look at all these videos because we have so many protests. Yes, it's official. We're an official sport, and that comes with rules and regulations. So please keep that music between those 110 and 130, or 130 and 150 respectively. I made a note for myself. So before I go into the breakdown of requirements, I want to share, because I just blurred out divisioning. Divisioning was, again, one of the requirements from Special Olympics International. Again, it's part of the all-inclusive. Every athlete that performs, that competes, has a chance to dance at least twice. The first one is what we call the divisioning round. And then the following day or 2 days later, depending on the local organizing committee, however they schedule it. But normally 1 day is divisioning. They dance for the first time, the judges score, and then they divide into Group A or Group B. And again, this is more of my opinion of sharing this. Divisioning is pretty much categorizing the higher functioning from the lower functioning. So everyone has a chance to win a gold medal, but within their category. So not just in dance style or category duo, solo, couple, or team, but also if we have 15 entries in specialty solo, then that might be 7 and 8. And then those compete the following day in their own category. Does that make sense, divisioning? Yes? Again, for ballroom dancing, we are not exposed to this kind of way. We do the first round, and then you hope to make the second round, and if not, you go home. But with Special Olympics, at least everyone dances twice. And to me, I love that system. I actually wish that we had that in the ballroom dance industry, because if you fly across the globe to dance once, now you can say, well, what's the difference between dancing once and twice? Well, 100%. So for ballroom dancing, this is a little new, but divisioning gives everyone the opportunity to dance twice. Yes, yeah, I think I saw some thumbs up. Adrian,
Louis, I'm happy to expand here as well as how divisioning looks like here in Colorado, because we do it a little differently than happens at the world stage. Because most of our state events are single day events, we don't have the carryover of multi-day, multi-week competition as they do at the World Games level. a lot of what we will rely on is the coach and the instructor to provide us with their assessment of their team of how they would be best divisioned. And then we take that information and then group people based off of the information that was provided to us by the coaches. The reason we do
Awesome.
divisioning is, as Louis mentioned, is to provide that most even competition for based around some three basic requirements, which is age group, their ability level, and their overall like sport ability and performance. So as this is a pilot season, we're very much in the early process of determining how we will assess and division here in Colorado. But that's really why we are talking about this concept and how we will implement it in competitions, just to create that best experience for everybody involved.
And to your point, Adrian, I believe also when you submit your choreographies, the team that look at the submissions, you can already division really right there. And from
Yeah.
the international perspective, from SOI, it purely is to give the athletes a chance to dance twice. That really is the
Yeah.
kindness. And the local Olympic Committee, sorry, local organizing committee, LOC, has so far every single World Games given the athletes a chance to do it. One day divisioning, the next day, and with single days. Also, if it's single day in the state of Colorado, you might have to drive 2 hours to dance once. That's different than flying 11 hours to a different continent to only dance once. So, and yeah, like you said, it's teamwork and we make it happen. And it's easy to divide with the video submissions already, too. Yep. Great. Thank you, Adrian. So there have been a few states already have been doing DanceSport for a long time and or a while. And I've heard so many coaches that are interested that looked at the rule book because all this information that I'm doing now is in the rule book. You can find it when you go to specialolympics.international.org. You go to click on DanceSport, boom, the rule book is there. The next information is all there. I just simplified it a little bit more. And I want to remind you again, if you keep it simple, the requirements are so easy. Why? Because they're based on movements that you do on a daily basis. And so when you look at all the different couples, solos, duos within those four categories and different dance styles, the same rules pretty much come back time and time again. It's just in ballroom dancing, it's slightly different. Some elements are the same, so I want to go over them per category. So on the bottom of your page, you'll see 4 solos. Street dance. What is required? A floor element, isolations, a full turn on one leg. Now, a floor element within hip hop or street dance. I'm going to do right now what is a floor element because it comes back in performing arts, in duos, street dance, duo performing arts, and then again in group. So floor element comes back multiple times again. And some of the new coaches are getting so overwhelmed. A floor element in hip hop, a floor element in ballet. What does that look like? Well, it starts with a floor element uncategorized. So when you say a floor element, and I have my AirPods in, good luck to me. What is a floor element? That is a floor element. Really gracefully done. Does it matter that it doesn't look like hip hop or street dance or ballet? No, not at first. It's just you know that this is a now, of course, if I go for more jazz, yes, those instructors or coaches that are already dancers, you don't have to tell them what a floor element in ballet is if that's already a ballet teacher. And if you're a hip hop dancer joining Special Olympics dance sport, they will know what a floor element would be within hip hop or street dance. But floor element means get to the floor and get back up. Yes, does that make sense? Yes. So if you go from here, because I'm not going to do the worm, but Ryan, who is 24-year-old autistic athlete in Atlanta, Georgia, he does a worm. Boom, floor element. He gets on the floor. I ain't doing it, but you can imagine a worm. The moment you get to the floor and you get back up, or I'm going here, I'm doing a boom, push up, floor element. Yes, does that make sense? Okay. Floor element. Then the next element. So isolations. Isolation, what is an isolation? It is an emphasis of a body part. You're isolating a body part away from the other body parts. So that could be a rib cage push. That's an isolation. Or boom, 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 isolation. Or one, I am isolating my arm. Or boom, a kick. Boom, there you go, isolation. It's an emphasis of a body part. Or shoulder, hey, boom, boom, required element. Yes, so if I do a port de bras ballet, whoop, there's my isolation. If I do it in hip hop, I mean, boom, 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 isolation. Yes, so for new coaches in particular, don't put the cart before the horse that you think, okay, I have to do a ballet one or a hip hop one. Understand what isolations mean. An emphasis of a body part. Yes? Are we good on that one? Yes? Great. A full turn on one leg. Literally, that's what it says. A turn on one leg. One leg. And so in ballet terms, jazz terms, and contemporary arts, we call it a pirouette. In ballroom dancing, we call it a standing spin. But new coaches, all they need to know, it's a full turn on one leg. And quite honestly, if you can get your athletes to really be in character of the dance that they do, fantastic. But all they need to do first is to know, I'm going to turn on one leg. And it comes with a lot of personality. And that's the first step. Get them to do it. Turn on one leg, no matter what it looks like. And then you work your way to a little bit more. If you're in a ballet solo, well, let's work on your posture and how your arms are part of it. If it's a hip hop one, you know, you do it in a hip hoppy way. But at first, a turn on one leg. 360 degrees. Are we good on one turn on one leg? Yes? Okay. So, if you have 1 minute and 20 seconds of routine and you have those three requirements, floor element, isolation, and body part isolation, and I'm not necessarily putting too much hip hop in it. I'm not a hip hop dancer either. But floor element, boom, 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 done, requirements done. So you can put these requirements back to back, done. get on the floor, give me an isolation, and turn, and then the rest, whatever you want to choreograph, it's on you. Or you can say you do the first element, let's do an isolation first, then mid-routine you do the floor, and then towards the end you do the turn. Or maybe you say, look, they get tired halfway through, let me do what I believe is the harder element, get it out of the way first. And maybe that's turning. Do the turning element first, then the floor element, because maybe their blood circulation is a little more warm. In the middle, they're warmer, so let's do the floor element. Then later in the routine, that pretty much to me is not about being creative. It's about being mindful of the athlete, look at their ability, and then put those three elements in a routine based on what you and your intuition says is best for your athlete. Yes, some of them might rather do it all back to back. Maybe you spread those elements out. Yes, we're good on that? Yes. Have fun with that. This should be a fun process. This should not be, oh my gosh, where should I start? Well, floor element, let them all go down to the floor. Don't even tell them what to do. All go down to the floor and get up. And the one that gets up quickest gets a lollipop. Oh my gosh, I don't know where that came from. Anyway, you can have fun with this like there's no tomorrow. Okay, solo performing arts. At least one jump, a floor element, and a full turn on one leg. Well, the floor element, you know, a full turn on one leg, you know. Within performing arts, at least one jump. It's a jump. And what is jumping? Leaving the floor for a moment. Here is where new coaches, when they read, oh, jump, what does that mean? What does that mean? Because I bet you new coaches would think when you say performing arts jumping, you think that. But what is jumping? Boom, element done. And you need only one. So, and this is some of the coaches that came, for one from Switzerland and Norway. Germany. The jumping section. She had her athlete do jumping jacks. Boom, done. And no one can say jumping jacks could not be street dance or ballet or jazz. It's movement, but the element was done. I thought it was so simple and so clever. You just throw in jumping jacks. It's a jumping element. The gold medalist from Utah, she was amazing. She was fully decked out in a ballet costume with a tutu, and she did very simple jumping section for 8 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, it looked full on ballet. But if you took the costume away and the turned out hips and the arms in port-de-bras, I would say that was a jumping jack done in a ballet jacket. Yes, so a jumping section, one jump at least. Keep it simple. Some coaches go way too difficult and they go into a full-on grand jeté. And great, if your athlete knows ballet, like the Utah gold medalist, she was doing it because she did ballet. She's 24. She did ballet since she was 4. So it came to no surprise that she competed in performing arts. So performing arts, at least one jump, a floor element. So get on the floor and get up, and a full turn on one leg. Before we go to specialty, and this comes back time and time again, those elements. And sometimes it's 4 elements where the isolations come back in. One of the, I guess, coaches in the past have questioned Well, why these elements? Why not the elements that they wanted to do? Again, it was a requirement from Special Olympics International that the coaches require, or the requirements for choreography needed to be also approved by the medical team. And what they loved, why we Pierre and I chose these requirements, is because they're movements of daily living. And well, why to the floor? Why to the floor? Why a floor element? Well, how many people, not just people with a mental disability, have fear of falling? So if you learn how to go to the floor and get back up, you actually are helping your own life. So every time you practice your routine, you actually are working on life itself. So it really is important that those ingredients are in there, not just to be able to judge fairly that everyone has to do these requirements, but also because it's healthy for them. Let them learn how to come to the ground. Let them learn how to professionally fall and then get back up. So, and many of them have increased their bone density, their muscle strength, lessened their fear of falling, and the parents and caregivers and all their doctors and medical teams of all athletes are so happy with those required elements. Yeah, they're simple. They're not that hard to understand. It starts with understanding. So new coaches can feel welcome. Oh, that I can do. I would always want to make you all just get up and go get on the floor and get back up. Well, there's your floor element. And then you beautify it over time or characterize it over time. Okay, so specialty solo. The routine needs to clearly represent the dance and heritage rhythmically. So in Italy in 2025, we had a Chinese soloist, national dance, full on that Chinese makeup, the costume, the music. I mean, the moment she walked on the floor, you could tell that's Chinese national dance. It was so crystal clear. At the World Championships, we had our brother and sister unified duo that did Bollywood. The music was Bollywood, the costumes were Bollywood, the movements were Bollywood. I mean, that is a representation of a specialty solo or duo or team. Yeah, so if you're doing Irish dance, but you're wearing a Chinese national dance costume, now you're not representing the dance style that you choose. Is this clear? This is a little subjective, but if you're clearly representing bachata, well, then it's more of a frilly, flowery, frilly costume, and the music and then the choreography all has to represent that national dance. Yes? Are we good on that? It's a little subjective, but it hasn't gone wrong yet at World Games. A full one, again, same thing, a full turn on one leg, at least one jump. And sometimes a dance style doesn't include jumping. Well, that's where the art of creation comes in. So a jumping element has to be in there, and everyone that participates in specialty solo is subjected to the same requirement. So it's not just you and your athlete that doesn't have to do it. No, everyone, no matter what the dance of choice is. Now we go into the couples, which is ballroom dancing. It's its own category. And this is why we separate the 10 ballroom dances that I've mentioned earlier: waltz, tango, foxtrot, Viennese waltz, and quickstep, and cha-cha, samba, rumba, paso doble, jive. Those are the 10 dances that are part of couples ballroom dancing. And this is an important one. When you do Lindy Hop, hustle, salsa, bachata, they're all part of our industry because they're partner dancing, but they're not part of ballroom dancing competition. We have 10 dances in the ballroom, and the rest will be into specialty. Yes, I just want to make that really clear. It's written down here. You have it, but it has to be clear. And here is the reason why I'm really specific about this. It says, for one, each dancer of the couple must execute the required elements. Not just one, both. So if it comes to turning a full turn, they both have to do a full turn. And in our industry, we call that the spot turn. They both have to do it. Not underarm turn, where the partner doesn't turn, but the other partner does. Both have to do the required elements. Here's the reason why those 10 dances are important. Because 3 recognizable figures from the Alex Moore, Walter Laird ISTD, or Guy Howard Techniques book has to be included. There will be no hustle, salsa, Lindy Hop figures in these 3 books. These are the 3 books that the World Dance Organization uses. So we adopted those. It wasn't us that decided that. Those were the books that the International World DanceSport Federation uses, and they signed the proclamation, the Special Olympics International. So I would highly suggest, if you are a brand new coach, start simple and do what you think is easiest, and then build your confidence as a coach, and then start branching out. So if you want to do ballroom dancing and you have never ever done ballroom, I would say connect with your fellow coach in another city or another county and say, hey, could you help me with those 3 books and decide which 3 figures I want to do? We're in this together. We're here to help. I am personally, if you want help from me, to be a professional dancer, I had to know these books by heart. So, because we have a lot of ballroom dancers on here. So the 3 recognizable figures, there are probably about 15 figures per dance that you can choose from, but you only need 3. So, and really, in a way, and this is me now not talking as your dance ambassador, but I'm talking to you as what I think a clever choreographer. If it says here 3 recognizable figures from the Alex Moore, Walter Laird, Guy Howard book, but then the last one says a full turn. Well, if I choose a spot turn, well, that's one of the requirements. So really, you only need 2 other required figures. Yes, so if I do, I want to make sure you can see my body in its entirety. So this is the spot turn. And I choose rumba, and I choose spot turn as one of my required elements. 2 and 3 and 4. Here you go, my required element, one of them. Now I'm going to do rumba, the opening out. 2 and 3, and I'm being the partner, the ladies portion, the opening out. The gentleman would be doing 2 and 3 and 4, and 2 and 3 and 4. Or if you have 2 guys or 2 girls, 2 athletes, female dance together, well, one of them opens up and the other one does a cucaracha. That's another element. Or you say, I'm going to do the New Yorker. 2 and 3 and 4. 2 and 3 and 4. And 2, I'm going to finish it up with another required element, the spot turn. And now we're going into the opening out. 2, 3, 4. I just did all 3 requirements back to back. Yes? And there are many figures to choose from in one of these 3 books. And as long as you have 3 of those, that's great. Now, if your athletes can do 4 or 5 elements, now you're going into cum laude or with honors, or you're impressing the judges. So as long as it's a minimum, you can do more, but just be mindful the ability of your athletes. Rachel, sounds like an appropriation nightmare. I think that was Um, yes, that's a conversation for another. I think that was from the previous subject. Thank
I'll
you,
jump in.
Rachel, for your contributions and questions. Thank you.
And we will send the recording out.
Great. Awesome. So really in couples, one other requirement is a minimum of 6 seconds side by side. You may touch with one hand, but if you can do it completely solo, again, the judges know the rules too. So if your athletes are both completely solo or one is kind of helping the other, we as judges see that. So the goal is to do it completely side by side, but you can hold one hand. That is allowed depending on ability. So if I'm doing cha-cha and I do the Cuban breaks as a required element, 2 and 3, 4 and 1, I can hold my partner on my left, who you have to imagine. Well, you can hold the hand. But if you can do it solo and you add personality, well, us judges have hearts, if that makes sense. Yes? Because as a judge, and this is not what this is about, but you will see in the rule book, if you go into what are the judges looking at, we have 5 categories that we're looking at, and presentation is a big one. Presentation, execution, the level of choreography. So I say keep it simple in the beginning, but if you go into, I'm now still hypothetically speaking because we're in pilot season, but say next year, 2027, and we are doing the qualifier for the World Games in Switzerland, well, you now are competing. So keeping it simple is great in the beginning, but it's a balance between pushing your athlete to new heights and at the same time keep it simple enough so they can still enjoy it. Yeah, it's a balance. And the only one that really knows what that balance is you, the coach, or the co-coach, the assistant coach, or caregivers. So are we clear on the elements for the couple in ballroom dancing? Great. For couples in specialty, each dancer of the team or couple must execute the required elements. Again, not one, both. The routine needs to clearly represent the dance and heritage. I just already covered that. It has to clearly represent the dance that they're doing or for what nationality. So if it's salsa or lambada, conga, bachata, lindy hop, it should all also be distinctly recognizable visually. Then also in specialty, a minimum of 6 seconds side by side, one hand connection is allowed. Yes, and they both have to do a full turn on one leg. There you go. Clear on that one? Yes, great. For duos, so that is 70% side by side facing, it's 70% non-touching. Side by side facing, back shadow behind each other, anything but 70% not touching. In street dance category, a floor element, isolations, a full turn on one leg. So for duo or solo street dance, same requirements. Yes, we're being consistent there. For duo in the performing arts, each dancer of the team must execute the required elements. At least one jump, a floor element, a full turn on one leg. So even for duos performing arts and solo performing arts, all the same requirements. Then specialty duo. Each dancer of the team must execute the required elements. The routine needs to clearly represent a full turn on one leg, at least one jump. Again, same requirements. Teams. So now we're going from duo and couple to teams. So this is minimum 4, maximum 12. Ballroom dancing. Each dancer of the team must execute the required elements. 3 recognizable figures from the Alex Moore, Walter Laird, or Guy Howard technique books. A minimum of 6 seconds side by side. 1 hand connection is allowed. A full turn. We actually had a team from Singapore that did ballroom, and it was, being a ballroom dancer, to see athletes, all athletes, no unified. I loved it. They did so good, and cha-cha is not always the easiest dance, and they did a great job doing the requirements, because normally ballroom is always done as a couple, and there were 3 couples doing it together. It was lovely. It was great. Also, little detail. In the other categories, it says 1 turn on 1 leg. But in ballroom dancing, it says a full turn. That is not a typo. Because in ballroom dancing, in the bronze, silver, and gold technique books, we don't do turns on 1 leg. We do it as a spot turn, which is a 3-step turn. So it's not a 3-step turn, it's a turn that has 3 steps. So from here, in all the other forms of dance, 1 turn on 1 leg. 1 turn on 1 leg. In ballroom, whether it's cha-cha, 2, 3, and cha-cha 1. 2, it's a full turn, but it's not done on 1 leg. So, and that's why ballroom is its own category. So we're not judging one duo that has to do it on 1 leg, and in ballroom, they can do it over 3 steps. That would not be fair to judge a person against 1 leg turn or a 3-step turn. Does that make sense? We're keeping the apples away from the oranges in terms of that. So if you read, it's not a typo. In ballroom dancing, it says a full turn. Every other category, it says a turn on 1 leg. So where are we? Ballroom dancing. Street dance. The requirements for street dance teams, each dancer of the team must execute the required elements. A floor element, isolations, a full turn on 1 leg. Performing arts. Each dancer of the team must execute the required elements. At least 1 jump, a floor element, a full turn on 1 leg. Specialty. Each dancer of the team must execute the required elements. The routine needs to clearly represent the dance of heritage. A full turn on 1 leg, at least 1 jump. So right now, if you feel that you're bored, you've heard it before, that tells me it is simple enough that you understand the requirements, and some might be slightly different. Some have the isolations and some don't, because in ballet, you don't really isolate, but in hip hop, you isolate all the time. So eventually, and this is more of a side note, don't quote me on it, I would like to see every single category do every single requirement, meaning everyone does a floor, even ballroom. Be creative and do that. But again, I have things I would like to, but I keep my mouth shut, because I feel where we were, where we are, is absolutely fantastic. So right now, these are the requirements, and in 2 years, we might add isolations to ballroom. We might add isolations to performing arts. But right now, this is what it is. And we have to work with many organizations that all have to sign off on one single rule change or requirement change. So we're in this together. We all take a deep breath when we don't like something, and we do it anyway. Anyway, so this is really it. However, I'm not going to sound like a Debbie Downer right now, but what I'm about to say is really extremely important. And this comes from the medical team from SOI. No way ever is any athlete allowed to do an overhead lift in duo or couple. No, at no time are you allowed to do a head spin or any flip forward or backwards. It's not allowed. You won't, you will, if we see it in the videos, the submission of the choreography, we will have you take it out. And we will also tell you, we, SOI or Special Olympics Colorado, they will give you a warning. Don't ever do that again. It is so unsafe to have an athlete stand on his head and then spin. It is horrible for people without a mental disability. Now you're asking someone with Down syndrome or autism to do these things. So front flips, back flips, headstands, or overhead lifts are absolutely a big no-no. So we've had this in the past, and I'm going back to Atlanta because they have over 100 athletes. Some of the athletes say they can do it. They want to do it because they saw someone do it on YouTube. No. And you can say this in the sweetest, kindest way. You can hug him and or her and say, I love you, but you can't do it. And here is why. It's for your own safety. Yes? So it's really, really important that you don't do these things. So that's the last note. And it's not really meant to be a Debbie Downer. It's just we want to prevent as much as we can any issue. And then last but not least, costumes. It really is simple. Make it appropriate, make it modest, or modest for the athlete. Don't have the athlete wear anything that she or he is not comfortable with, especially the ladies, really short skirts. And when they do a jump and the legs go wide and you see right in their private parts, just be mindful. And you can still make it pretty and have it modest. And I have to say, I am one of the most open-minded person. So when I say modest, I don't say because I am religious of any kind or I'm trying to preach something. No, it's purely for the integrity of the athlete or athletes. Yeah, so just be mindful that it's done in good taste and nothing is exposed. Well, this pretty much is the majority, but please, if you have any questions for me from this portion, then I can answer any questions. Otherwise, I'm going to give it back to either Adrian or Aspen so we can finish within time. Anyone have any questions for me? Well, Adrian, Aspen.
I actually have a question for you, Louis.
Jennifer, please go.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Jennifer, please. Are you there?
I don't have a question, but only a plea. This meeting was recorded?
Yes.
Okay, because I want to hear again.
Thank you.
Yeah,
yes,
it's been recorded, and next steps coming out of this call, we will send a recap email with that recording, with the form, the starter kit that Louie's been discussing, some more information about our timeline and next steps. So, and the survey form that I shared in the group chat as well. So all of that will be shared with all of you who registered for today's call.
I'll also include, I know that Louis talked about a few different ways to build routines and choreography. So I will include a few just video links of examples of, you can see the athletes up on the stage dancing as well as building a simple routine and different things. So you have a few visuals. But just as a note on that, it's a simple YouTube search. There's a ton of videos on Special Olympics dance sport. So if you want to spend your afternoon watching some great dancing and a lot of athlete smiles, I'd recommend it. But I did have a question, Louis, about the dancing piece and the requirements. What would you recommend for an athlete who uses a wheelchair or maybe a walker, has leg braces to meet that floor element piece if they want to do a street dance?
Well, in that sense, we're going to have to make an exception. You can't ask someone in a wheelchair go down to the floor. So we could say instead of the floor element, this person has to do an isolation instead. And she can still make or he can make a rotation fully wheelchair. Boom, that's a requirement. And an isolation is pretty easy. And it might just be a different requirement. And especially, maybe at most, would you say a handful might compete in a wheelchair? Those five,
Yeah.
we can talk with the local organizing committee. Well, in this case, it's us at Legacy. And we can talk to the judges and say, hey, these people will have these requirements. And it's just a side note. If we start having 20, 30, 40 wheelchair participants, then we just create a whole category. And we just create a whole set of requirements. And I would personally then like to work, let's say, Aspen, Adrian, we pick one of the coaches from the wheelchair, they're specialized. So we talk to them and say, hey, what would be 3 elements that we can make all wheelchair athletes abide by? So that's something we can easily do, but we definitely don't say no. So
Okay, so that would just
yeah.
be something that we would just need to communicate to judges in advance.
Yes.
So they'd be aware.
Yeah,
Okay, great.
absolutely.
I will make sure that that's noted.
Yeah. Now, so I've been a little frustrated that some of the coaches came up to me either in Italy or in other states where DanceSport is official, and they said, "Oh my gosh, it's complicated. It's this, it's that," and I'm thinking, what is complicated? If it's explained well and simplified, it's not difficult. So to prove that point, I'm just a little competitive. I was in Atlanta, did coaches training, and Ryan, I hope you can see this. So Ryan, this is a 30-second video, and Ryan has autism, and he's going to do DanceSport in Georgia. I literally said, Ryan, I need this from you. And I saw him think, and then he did it. And I said, well, now I need this from you. And I saw him think, and he did it. So this was a person, I asked him the element, and he did it. I did not teach him because I want to prove that even Ryan with autism can just listen to what the requirement was asked. So I want to share this with you. I'm going to turn it up. Here we go. Autism. Now, this was the boy I said it wasn't Bruno Mars. It was Moves Like Jagger. He had a whole choreography to it. It was hard to get him out of that little choreography that he was doing. But ultimately, with a few reminders, he did the required elements. And initially, it's not about how it looks. Get it done. And then the more you do it, the better you get at it. But that's for everyone in any sport of any kind, or in art. You start one way, and a year back, you look later, was that me a year ago? Oh my gosh. And that's us. So Aspen, back to you, or Adrian, I just wanted to share that.
That was great. Thank you, Louis. I think it would be helpful here to talk about next steps in our timeline for us in Colorado as we work through this pilot season. Aspen, do you want to share a little bit about our timeline for the spring?
Yes, hold on one second. Let me make sure that I have it in front of me and I'm saying all the right things. Um, so for the spring, with it being a pilot sport for Special Olympics Colorado this year, if we have people participating in spring, it will be for the upcoming showcase in May at the Broadmoor. And then beyond that, if that's too quick, there's a few requirements between now and then. If that's too fast for your team or you feel like you want some more time for yourself or for the athletes, we will be piloting DanceSport as an official, well, not as an official, as a pilot sport for Special Olympics Colorado this fall, meaning that we'll have multiple teams and run a SoCo specific event for DanceSport. So that said, if you are interested in the showcase at the Broadmoor in Colorado Springs on May 9th, we'll include these dates in the recap with the recording as well. But Monday, March 9th would be the submission for a type and style of dance. And then Thursday, April 9th, we have music submission for timing. Louis, I don't have a specific choreo submission date. Do you have that?
Since
Or
we're
not that I have?
piloting, I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay.
When we did it in Utah, we didn't worry about it because it's the pilot. Everyone is welcome. It's more really that first time is to get our feet wet, for you to see, experience what it's like. I just wanted to make sure that we still run it as if we would be at the World Games. So in theatrical setting, Pierre is flown over from Europe, who has done all 5 World Games and the national games in Austria. And also, that was a great way for you, Aspen, to meet with him so that you learn all the ropes of that portion of running a competition dance sport as close to what it would be at a World Games. So there's no confusion. There's no much adjusting between coaches because the state is so different from the World Games. We want to keep it as close as possible. So it's such a smooth transition. But yeah, if you give us the music April 19th, then we know for length purposes what that day is going to look like. That's great. So that's the big one, April 19th.
I have it down as April 9th. Did you want to?
Oh, sorry, April 9th. Yeah, sorry, whatever Aspen said.
No, great.
And also,
again,
because we have Florida on here, we have people come from Maryland with athletes, and Georgia will also come with a few athletes. So Florida, if you have some athletes already, I know in Sarasota and maybe the Fort Myers area, Colorado has been graciously opened the competition showcase to everyone.
Yeah, so we're very excited. I'm very excited. We are sending some basic requirements out to coaches just to make sure that they are preparing in advance and setting the athletes up to be really successful at this showcase. So we are requesting that you make sure to get 6 practices in, whether that's 6 weeks of once a week or 3 weeks of twice a week, whatever that needs to look like for your team, but making sure that you have a minimum of 6 practices in so that the athletes are prepared, that you're meeting all the submission deadlines. I know that with SoCo, we kind of flex on things sometimes depending on team needs, but there's not wiggle room with these dates. So please make sure that you're noting the dates for that. And then again, if you just want to get a program going, it's a great time to start practicing, engaging interest, figuring out what your team and your athlete makeup will look like. And then As I said, in the fall will be our first official pilot of a full season. So we're very excited for that as well. And then
Aspen,
Adrian, yes.
um, when will I think it's five regions, right, within Colorado, those leaders,
Mhm.
when will they reach out to the studios? Because this is Shauna's question at the Westminster area with the dance studio, when they can get the athletes to come to their studio so they can actually start. When will that relationship happen, and when will they start getting athletes to get started?
I'm gonna hand that
Great
piece off to
question.
Adrian.
Yep, I can cover that. So we at last week we spent our time kind of canvassing all of our teams around Colorado to see if we could align them with the dance studios to see, where our interest was. So following this call, starting tomorrow, we're going to be doing some direct outreach to those teams and their participants, capturing athlete interest of who would want to take part in this pilot season. So forum is going out to our coaches, and then that's going to be disseminated to all of our athletes. So we're going to be using this next upcoming week to capture that information. Um, in between that time, we would like to chat with you, the dance studio, and also the head coach and local program coordinator from the community team in your area so we can start connecting the dots and formulate a plan of next steps. So that may vary depending on program, depending on interest, but I will be reaching out to all the studios starting tomorrow and Tuesday to follow up with next steps and schedule calls later in the week so we can start connecting those dots and planning. Um, in an ideal world, we would love to have our first group of athletes attending the first practices for studios that are interested in moving forward as early as not this upcoming week, but the following week, just so we can give them some repetitions and introduce concepts in advance of those timetables, knowing that we have one coming up in March where we're looking to provide some dance type interest. So this will move pretty quickly over the next few weeks for those studios and programs who are looking to join us for that spring invitational at the Broadmoor. That said, if you are looking to just get started in the fall, we have a lot more lead time to work through there, but we will focus our energy right away with those programs that are wanting to start and join us for the spring. Let's see. Any other kind of timeline questions for Aspen or I as we
Yes, and I
wrap up
think
here?
this is a great question from Colleen. Um, if we have athletes that are interested but had planned to do other spring sports like soccer or swim, would they be able to do both, or would spring regionals be at the same time or the same weekend?
I can take that. So Monday, or I'm sorry, May 9th is Denver Regional Athletics. So that track meet is happening that same day. If they're participating in track and interested in the showcase, they would need to choose which one they want to prioritize for that day. There are no other competitions that day. So I know you mentioned soccer and swimming, and there are no soccer or swim competitions that day. So if that's the only conflict, then hopefully it would work out.
Yeah, so they would be able to, in theory, do soccer and also dance sport during our spring season.
Great. And Lois and Lexi, I think it would be great if you just connect together, because I'm reading about Broomfield Rec Center, Lafayette Rec Center. You're in a similar situation, so it would be great for you guys to connect. Well, Lex, you already said that.
Yeah,
So
we can definitely connect. And then Adrian, just a quick question on if we submitted that form that we have a location to practice, can
Yep.
you we'll get an email from you this week? I just want to make sure it like went through and you have us down in Lafayette.
Yeah, we're gonna yes, we will send a follow-up email with to everybody coming out of this call. So if you registered for this call, we have your email already. And then we're looking to just capture some additional details in that form that I sent in the group chat. We'll send that by email in the recap as well. So tomorrow you'll receive a follow-up recap email of this specific call with the call recording, the document that Louie's been sharing, and then I will be reaching out to each group directly by email to then start coordinating those next steps of the athlete pairing, pairing up with a Special Olympics coach. So I will start doing that outreach along with one of our regional managers tomorrow and Tuesday, so we can hopefully schedule calls later in the week and get programs going really quickly.
And
But yes,
Adrian,
Thank you.
you'll likely be hearing from us a couple of times this week.
awesome. Just so you guys know, Shauna, Resolute Ballroom, which is Jocelyn, Tonya, Lexi, Carla, they will already be at the Broadmoor
Great.
for the other competition or the retreat. So if you can make sure that you have all of them covered this week, because they're all studios that want to get started. They just need athletes, and they will be part of the showcase. So just want to make sure that all of you guys, Tanya, Jocelyn, Shauna, Carla, that you guys are on that. You've registered, so they have your information. And I'm going to ask a question, Adrian and Aspen, for you on behalf of Carla. And
Great.
stop me if you don't want me to, Carla, but I think this is important. When I met Mandy last year, Mandy Williams, she's the chair of the board of Special Olympics Colorado. She has a family engagement right now. That's why she couldn't be on today, but she would have been here. When I met her, we started this process, and Carla was the first one with her board to want to support. And they have a lovely, amazing location downtown Denver. It's a historic place. However, it's not accessible for wheelchairs. So by rules, that means she could not start a Special Olympics program. Is there any way that an exception can be made, that there are many athletes in downtown Denver or close by that would want to join their location, but because right now they're not ADA accessible, therefore, and she had the support of her board, they said they were at a day and time set, and then it was shut down because they're not ADA. Are there
Yeah,
exceptions to be made?
we can share that kind of disclaimer as we do our outreach so that individuals who do not need that accessibility are aware and then also can join. We have plenty of athletes who are fully able-bodied and able to kind of navigate without those ADA accommodations. So those are things that we can make available as we start doing our promotion.
I think the biggest thing on our end is making sure that we do have an accessible option in the same region area, so that if there are athletes that say they do need accessibility, we have another option for them. And that would be the biggest thing, is so that we can say this one is not available, but there is this one, so that it wouldn't be an exclusive factor for people that want to participate. But we can certainly
Awesome.
find ways to work with that.
Great. Carla, question for you and Shauna. How far is the north location of Colorado DanceSport from the downtown Denver location? Either one of you, Shauna or Carla, because I
20
think
minutes.
you two are the closest. Sorry?
It's about 20 minutes. It's not bad.
Okay, so Aspen, would that be within the range that you would say that's close enough as another option?
I would
Uh,
need a few more details, but I think also as we get more other teams involved, even if it ends up not being specifically with a studio, if there's other teams that we could refer them to also. Once we have that list, I think it'll be a doable request.
yeah,
Awesome.
and as
So it's not a
we're,
no.
it's
It's
not a
not a
no.
no.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And with this being obviously a pilot year, we're getting a lay of the land and who's interested. We expect that opportunities for our athletes are not going to be as widely available as they will be in years down the road as we build out our programming. So we're promoting it, we're like capturing interest, want to understand who's available, knowing that we may not be able to place you now, but we will have your interest captured for future seasons as we look for opportunities as we grow. So I want to mention that. Shauna, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I live less than a mile from the Turnbrine, and it takes me about 15 minutes to get to work. So I would
Nice.
wager it's slightly closer than that 20 minutes.
Awesome. Shauna, while I have you off mute, I see you're with Colorado Dance Sport. Where are you guys located?
So we have two locations. We have one location in Littleton, and then we have one location in North Denver. And I teach out of the North Denver location, which is the one that is relatively close to the Turnbrine.
Excellent. Great.
So
Thank you, Shauna.
we have already have a unified dance troupe group over here. The Montrose people actually just did a sport.
Yeah,
Actually,
March told me.
yeah, but we would like to go ahead. We just don't have a big enough studio. So if, well, and I'm not a good choreographer, but I can do a minute and a half for sure. But we don't have a studio really. So if you guys know of any studios that might help us out over here on the western slope, I would love to have some suggestions first. So
What is your location, Sharon?
Western Colorado, Grand Junction.
Are we talking Grand Junction?
Yes.
Colorado.
Now, I adopted my son from Grand Junction. So I know it well.
Yeah, we already have athletes and we would expand it more. The current location that we do once a month is very small though. So we would need to, if we were expanding at all, we would need to get a bigger studio. So
yeah. What style of dance are you leaning towards? Is it very diverse or more?
They're pretty diverse. I mean, we already have some folks that are doing hip hop kind of stuff. And so I think we would really kind of, I don't know if we would do a whole troupe or some solos or I don't know. But usually it's just kind of traditional stuff.
Yeah. So just on that note, since you said that, the harder or the bigger the team, the more time consuming. So to have a few solos, a few duets, maybe a couple, or maybe one team, but there might actually be 4 instead of 12. Big groups are great, but logistically, it's way more time consuming. So in the beginning, I would say start easy with a few solos and a few duets or duo or couple. And if you do a team, do it a little smaller.
Yeah.
Just to start.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sharon, great. Thanks for sharing that. We'll do some legwork and trying to find dance studio options for you in Grand Junction. Out of curiosity, I know you also work with the Montrose group. Do you guys travel down to Montrose too for training?
They travel up here.
They travel up there. Okay, got it.
Yeah, but we wouldn't be object to traveling down there either. So she comes up once a month, but but we're starting up here a second time, so we would do twice a month. Or
Okay.
and if we start this, I would do much more. I would do it weekly. So
Awesome. That helps. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay. All
1
right,
p.m. Wow.
we are
Yeah.
right at time. So, before we close, are there any parting questions, anything that we haven't covered yet that may be helpful for you as you get your program started, or anything that we can do to help you feel prepared or going into the next few weeks?
Again, just as a reminder, we'll send the video along with timelines, the 5-page starter kit, um, links for different things, video examples. If there's anything else resource-wise that anybody would like, we'll make sure that emails for both Adrian and I are in there, and we are at your disposal. So any questions that you have about resources, adaptations, really anything, reach out anytime.
Yeah, and along that to that end, some of the resources that we would be sharing are from our friends over at Special Olympics Utah, who have been running DanceSport for a few years. As we are working in our pilot season of developing our guides, our the foundation of all of our rules, we're leaning on Utah's direction to start, and then so if you see Special Olympics Utah's logos on all of our collateral, it's because we're borrowing some of their ideas. So I wanted to give you a little background on that. Okay.
I just want to wrap up with one last comment on Louis. It's been a pleasure. It's so obvious
Absolutely.
that you have the heart for Special Olympics and the athletes, and so appreciate you bringing your passion for dance to the athletes in Colorado, and we're thrilled to get it going.
You're
Yeah, I
most
can't echo
welcome.
that sentiment more. We this doesn't happen without your fearless leadership and guiding us in the charge of this. So we're so grateful for your time, Louis. Thank you for all of this, and truly thank you all of you for being willing to be brave in the attempt and journey with us as we get started with Special Olympics Colorado's dance sport program. We're looking forward to so much more fun and joy ahead. So, thank you all for your partnership and your time on the Sunday. Louis, any parting thoughts for the group?
Well, thank you guys for joining us for 2 full hours on a Sunday, and your passion for wanting to grow in your area. I've done it now for 10 years, and it is such an amazing experience when you see those athletes shine. And that's why we're doing it. I think that's preaching to the choir here. I have a question, Adrian and Aspen. When you stop recording, could I have 5 minutes of
Great.
your
Yeah,
time?
absolutely. This will, so
Thank
thank
you.
you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Sundays. We look forward to chatting with you in the week ahead. Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you.